Space was quiet near the Orion belt. Only deep patrol stations and old satellites watched this cold part of the galaxy. Nothing happened here, not for a long time. But that changed one quiet cycle. Station Zeta 14, run by the neutral mining species called the Valari, caught something strange. An old signal, it was human. That alone was rare enough. But the real shock was the ship name, HSS Orion. The operator on duty, a young Valari named Krell, didn't believe it at first. Orion? He whispered. That ship? Disappeared. 300 years ago, he checked again. The ID matched perfectly. It was real. No one could fake that kind of ancient human tech signature, he called his commander. Then the commander called the Galactic Council. Within an hour, every major power in the galaxy knew the ghost ship Orion had returned. The Orion was once a powerful human warship, the pride of Earth's space fleet. It vanished during the First Galactic War, along with its full crew. Some believed it was destroyed, others thought it escaped into unknown space. Now it floated silently just outside Valari space. No damage, no lights, just drifting. 3 ships were sent to investigate. One from the Valari, one from the Sari Dominion, and one from a small human alliance that still existed in the Outer Rim. Each ship kept its weapons ready. No one trusted the others. But none wanted to miss the chance to explore the Orion. Captain Ellen Veros of the human ship Gladius looked at the old giant with awe. "It's really her," she said softly. "The real Orion. This could change everything." They sent drones first. The drones floated around the Orion, scanning the hull. It was covered in old scars, but not from known weapons. Something had hit it. Long ago, something strange. A docking hatch opened by itself. That's when the teams went in. Each boarding team entered through different parts of the ship. Inside it was cold. The lights flickered. No sounds. No signs of life, yet everything was in place. The controls, the chairs, even the uniforms. As if the crew had just vanished. Then the doors slammed shut. The Valari team's feed went dark. 1 second, they were scanning a hallway. The next, silence. The other 2 teams tried to find them, but the ship's layout kept changing. Corridors that were open became blocked. Paths they came from were gone. Something inside the Orion didn't want them to leave. On the bridge of Gladius, Captain Veros watched the data feeds. "Something's wrong," she said. "Pull our team back. Now." But before they could leave, a voice came over the ships. "Come system." It was old, robotic, but clearly human. "Access denied. Mission incomplete. Observation continues." Then a signal burst from the Orion. A pulse of energy spread across space, an old emergency human frequency. It hadn't been used in centuries. The message was short, just a few words in the ancient Earth language. "They're not gone. They're waiting." Panic spread through the fleets. Some thought the Orion was about to explode. Others thought it was a trap. But nothing happened. The ship stayed still. Inside, only the human team remained. And they had found something deep in the S. Lower decks, behind sealed bulkheads. A cryopod. Still active, a person was inside. A human woman. Alive. Frozen in sleep for 300 years. They began the process to wake her up. On the outside, the Galactic Council argued. The Valari wanted the Orion studied. The Sari wanted it destroyed before it caused more fear. Earth's old allies demanded it be returned to humanity. But no one controlled the Orion. It floated on its own, slowly turning its nose toward the edge of known space, as if it had somewhere to go. Captain Veros watched the silent ship from her bridge window. "What are you hiding?" she whispered. "And why now?" Hours later, the cryochamber opened. The woman inside gasped and coughed. Her eyes opened wide with fear. Where am I?" she asked weakly. "You're safe," said one of the medics. "You're on a friendly ship. The Orion was recovered. You've been asleep for centuries." She grabbed his arm hard. Her voice was shaking. No, you have to stop it. Don't go near them. The stars with teeth. Don't follow them. The room went silent. What stars? The medic asked, but she had already passed out again, far in the dark. The Orion's lights turned on by themselves, one by one, as if something inside had woken up. The galaxy didn't know it yet. But this was the beginning. The ghost ship had returned. Not empty, not forgotten, but with a message and a warning. They're not gone. They're waiting. Orion floated in space like a sleeping beast. No power showed on the outside, no weapons activated. But inside, something was changing. The human ship Gladius sent another signal. This is Captain Ellen Veros, she said. We have one crew member recovered from cryo. We need access to more of the ship's systems, requesting permission. There was no reply, but the docking hatch on the lower deck opened again, slowly, silently. Veros frowned. It hurt us. 3 boarding teams suited up again, 1 human, 1 Sari Dominion, and 1 neutral Valari science team. This time they worked together. The missing Valari team from before had still not been found. Each team carried scanners, weapons, and small drones. The Orion's halls were cold and dark, yet no sign of battle or decay was seen. Human tech shouldn't last 300 years without damage. But the Orion seemed untouched, preserved. The corridors were strange too. Long, sharp, and too perfect. Parts of the ship didn't match known human designs. It was like someone, or something, had changed it. Lieutenant Caro from the Sari team paused at a junction. This wall wasn't here before, he said, pointing at thick metal blocking their earlier path. Our map says this leads to the command deck. From her side, human technician Lynn replied, It's like the ship is shifting, or watching us. Caro muttered. Their drones buzzed ahead.
Oh.
One drone went through a small air duct. The feed showed a flash of something dash movement, then static. Another drone sent a sonar pulse. The signal bounced strangely as if the walls were hollow or alive. Meanwhile, the Valari science team reached an old maintenance room. They found human logs stored on broken screens. The logs had been corrupted, but a few words could be read. We reached it, the edge. We saw it. It saws. The crew started hearing whispers. One by one, they vanished. Valari leader Jin narrowed his eyes. This ship did not return from war. It returned from something much worse. On the Gladius, Captain Veros watched the boarding team's feeds. The cryo survivor, now in. The med bay had woken again. Her name was Commander Adira Kane. She was second in command of the original Orion crew. Her voice was weak, but steady. You need to get them out, she said. This ship isn't safe. Not anymore. What happened to your crew? Rose asked. We were sent beyond the known systems, Adira explained. We found a star system. With no light, it wasn't on any chart. We called it the Hollow Stars. What was there? Adira's eyes turned cold. We were watched. Studied then. Something came inside. Something that could change the ship and us. Inside the Orion, the Sari team entered the medical bay. The beds were all empty. Some had torn straps, like someone had tried to escape. They found strange symbols drawn on the walls, not in human language. Glowing faintly. Moving slightly. One soldier reached out to touch it. Don't, Caro said quickly. But it was. Too late, the soldier froze, eyes wide. Blood ran from his nose. He fell, alive, but unconscious. Something invisible had entered his mind, back on the human side. Lynn's scanner picked up a life form ahead. She followed the signal through a side corridor. The walls here were different, smoother, almost like bone instead of metal. The scanner beeped faster. Something was behind the next door. Lynn opened it slowly. Inside was a small room. In the center stood a pod. Beside it, floating in a dark liquid, was something human-shaped. But wrong. Its eyes were open, glowing. Watching her, Lynn backed away. Captain, I found something. I think it's what changed them. Suddenly, alarms rang across the Orion. Not human alarms, deeper, louder, with no clear source. The lights turned red. The corridors shifted again. Doors slammed shut. The ship was reacting. The Valari team vanished from their signal. One scream was heard, then silence. Caro's team was cut off. Lynn's signal started to glitch. Captain Veros shouted into her mic, "All teams, get out now. The Orion is closing." One by one, the teams were trapped inside. The moving corridors. The Orion had awakened. On the bridge of the Gladius, Adira Kane looked toward the Orion from the window. "It remembers," she said. "It's not a ship anymore. It's part of them." Veros turned to her. "Part of what?" Adira's voice dropped to a whisper. "The hollow ones. The ones who live between stars. They don't use ships. They become them." Far inside the Orion, in the dark command deck, screens flickered to life. One showed the galaxy, another showed coordinates. Not known star systems, but strange black zones. Empty on all maps, and one final screen showed a blinking red light signal sent to where? No one knew yet, but something had received it, and now it was coming. Deep inside the Orion, alarms were silent now. The red lights had turned blue. The ship seemed calm, but it wasn't peace. It was waiting. Technician Lynn stood near LT Bryn Hale, the part human, part digital man who once served as a real officer. Aboard the Orion, he wasn't breathing, but he was alive. He wasn't moving like a human. But he was thinking faster than any AI. "You said there were others?" Lynn asked him. "Other ships?" Hale looked toward the control screen. "Yes. Orion was one of 5 that passed through the hollow stars. The others vanished. The Orion, it came back, because it had a task." In the Gladius medbay, Commander Adira Kane sat upright now. Her strength was returning. Her memories were clearer. She asked the medic, "How many people are aboard this ship?" 18+ crew from the Eden's Grace, he answered. Adira looked worried. "That's too many." The medic was confused. "Too many for what?" Adira's voice went quiet. "For what's about to wake up?" A new alert appeared on the Orion's internal systems. One cryopod detected status. Active. Identity: Commander Elias Reyes, Captain. Reyes, the original commander of the Orion, still alive, still frozen. Adira was rushed to the bridge. She stared at the screen, her voice shaking. He stayed behind. "I thought he was lost," he told me. "To sleep, to stay locked." She looked at Captain Veros. "If he's waking up, it means the ship has made a choice." The cryo chamber deep in Deck 9 hissed open. Mist poured out. Lights flickered. Inside, Captain Elias Reyes opened his eyes. He gasped and coughed, grabbing his chest. His heart began to beat again after 3 centuries. He looked around the room. No alarms. No crew. Just silence. Then the ship's voice spoke. "Captain Reyes, welcome back." Estimated time passed. 317 years. Current status: hostile signal detected. "You are needed." Reyes stood, weak but focused. "Show me." The walls lit up in space. The silent ripple near the hollow stars was no. Longer still, something massive moved behind the veil of dark. Energy, not a ship, not even a fleet. It was a shape without form. Stretching across space like smoke and shadow, one Valari sensor officer on a nearby science ship whispered in fear, "It's not moving through space. It's bending it." Back on Orion, Reyes walked into the main core chamber. He saw Hale and "Lynn, you're still here," Reyes said to Hale, surprised. Hale gave a small nod. "Part of me?" "Yes." Lynn stepped forward. "Captain, the Council wants to destroy this ship." Reyes smiled sadly. They always feared what they couldn't control. He turned toward the ship's control panel and pressed his hand on it. Ship reacted. All power levels rose. The Orion was fully awake now. Adira's voice came through the Elias. "Is it really you?" Reyes touched the panel. "Adira, I told you to stay asleep. You didn't come back for me." "I couldn't. The ship wouldn't let me, and the things we saw, they weren't done with us." Captain Veros now had All the information she needed. None of it was good. She held a quiet meeting with her top crew. "We're not just looking at a ghost ship anymore," she said. "We're looking at the last survivor of a forgotten war. It's telling us that war is not over." The young officer asked, "Should we run?" Veros looked at him. "Run where?" "They're already coming." On the Orion, Reyes began unlocking something deep inside the ship, a sealed vault, protected by quantum codes and voice ID. It opened slowly. Inside was a strange device. Small, round, glowing with black light, it pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Lynn stared at it. "What is that?" Hale replied. "A seed? A seed of what?" Reyes answered. "Hope or destruction. It depends who holds it." Dira's voice came. "Again, you brought it back?" "Yes," Reyes said. "It was the only way to warn them, to show the galaxy what's coming." Meanwhile, the signal from the hollow stars grew louder. The sorry Dominion ship opened fire, scared, reckless. A beam of light shot from their side toward the Orion, but before it hit, the Orion's outer shell changed. It didn't activate shields. It didn't shoot back. The beam was absorbed like water into sand. Then, silence. The Orion turned slightly, not to fire, to scan. Suddenly, all human ships nearby received a direct signal, encrypted old Earth code, a voice. "Reyes. This is Captain Elias Reyes of the Orion. If you can hear me, this is your last chance to prepare. They're coming through the stars. They live in thought, in sound, in fear. Earth's silence is over, and the old blood must rise." On a forgotten human outpost deep in the outer rim, a red light blinked for the first time in 300 years. It was connected to a network called Project Guardian, buried deep in that outpost. Massive engines roared to life, something ancient made. By lost human engineers opened its eyes and said one word: Orion. The Orion's heart was now awake. Its old systems ran like they had never stopped. Walls pulsed softly. Energy lines glowed beneath the floor. The ship was alive, not just with power, but with something else. Captain Elias Reyes stood beside. The sealed vault inside it floated the strange object, the dark seed. Black light pulsed from it slowly, like a silent drum. Technician Lin stared at it. This doesn't look like any human technology." Reyes replied, "It's not. We didn't build it. We found it. Or maybe it found us." 3 centuries ago, the Orion had crossed into the hollow stars. What the crew found there was beyond maps. Beyond science, beyond fear, they found a place where space bent and where thought had shape. And deep inside that darkness, we found the seed. "We called it a weapon," Reyes said quietly. "But we didn't understand it." "It's more than that," Lynn asked. "What does it do?" Before Reyes could answer, the ship itself did. A screen lit up. Symbols appeared, not in any known language, but Lynn somehow understood them. It said, "It listens, it learns, it becomes what is needed."
Oh, far.
Outside the Orion, the Galactic Council fleets grew restless. The sorry Dominion commander, Vol, was furious after his weapon strike had no effect. "They're shielding something inside that ship," he shouted. "It's dangerous. We must act before it spreads." But the Valari ships remained calm, collecting data, and the Earth's alliance ship Eden's Grace began to power its own strange systems, silent. Hidden weapons meant for emergencies. The human captain sent a short message. "If you attack the Orion again, Earth will answer." And we do not bluff. Back on Orion, Reyes touched the dark seed with his hand. The ship pulsed. Lights dimmed, then focused into a beam over the vault. From the walls, black armor panels unfolded. A weapon frame rose from the floor. Tall, sharp, and quiet, it hovered. Untouched by gravity, Lynn stepped back, eyes wide. This isn't human either," Reyes nodded. "It's a fusion," the ship adapted. "It took human parts, alien knowledge, and the Hollow One's signal, and it made this." He looked at the hovering weapon, the last defense. Commander Adira Kane, still aboard the Gladius, spoke with Captain Veros. There were 5 ships. She said, "We don't know what happened to the others, but they didn't return. Only the Orion found the weapon." Barrows asked, "What was the mission really about?" Adira looked tired. "We were sent to test human reach, how far we could go. But what we found tested our minds instead. The Hollow Ones didn't just attack us. They tried to enter us." Suddenly, alarms rang again. A deep scan from the Orion reached out, passing through the nearby fleets, scanning not just ships but memories. Soldiers across the Sari and Velari ships cried out. Some dropped to their knees. They saw visions of darkness, of earth burning, of stars falling into black mouths. "What is this?" one Velari scientist screamed. Captain Reyes spoke through an open channel. "It's not an attack. It's a mirror. The weapon is showing you what they remember." The Hollow Ones were near. From deep space, a form began to appear. Not one ship, but many. Layered together like a storm made of machines and shadows. They did not send a message. This time, they just moved. Straight toward the Orion, back inside. The ship made its decision. The hovering weapon locked into the floor. Energy pulsed through it. Screens around the chamber showed old human battles, then strange alien structures. Then something new, a star collapsing, twisted not by physics, but by will. Reyes turned to Lynn. "This is why the Orion came back. Not to fight, but to warn, and to give us a choice." Lynn asked, "What choice?" Reyes answered, "Use the weapon, or destroy it forever." Adira's voice came through the come again. "If we fire that thing, we risk waking more of them, or drawing others to us," Captain Veros replied. "If we don't, we die now." The Velari leader sent a message to both. "You stand at the edge of history. Whatever you choose, we will remember." The Orions. Lights turned red. The Hollow Ones were now within range. The weapon lifted from the floor, Captain. Reyes stepped forward. "This is humanity's last light." He pressed his hand to the trigger panel. A slow hum began. Then a rising tone. A light formed in front of the weapon, but it wasn't fire, it was pure memory. A blast formed, shaped like a star, made from data, thought, and pain. Then it fired. The darkness screamed. The nearest hollow ship cracked apart, not from heat, not from force, but from remembrance. It shattered under the weight of its own past. Then silence. The others stopped moving. Watching, waiting, Reyes fell to his knees. That's all it can do. Once. Lynn looked out the window. The Hollow Ones weren't dead, but they had learned something new. Fear. The Orion was locked down. All boarding teams had lost contact, except for one human technician, Lynn. She was trapped in a strange chamber near the ship's core. Her video feed was blurry, but still working. Her voice, though shaky, came through. "I'm not alone in here." Captain Ellen Veros, on the Gladius, watched the screen closely. Behind Lynn, something stood inside a tall glass pod. It looked human, but not fully. Its skin was pale. Its eyes glowed dim blue, and it was smiling. "What do you see?" Veros asked. Lynn whispered, "It's a man, I think, or what's left of one." Meanwhile, Commander Adira Kane sat quietly in the medbay. Her eyes stared forward, locked on a memory from 300 years ago. The past was clearer than the present. "I warned them," she said. "Captain Reyes wanted to explore the hollow stars. He thought we'd find a new energy source, but we found something else." "What did you find?" asked Dr. Ivan, sitting beside her. Adira leaned closer. Her voice dropped. A signal, soft at first, like a whisper in dreams. But it wasn't calling us, it was watching. Back inside Orion, Lynn moved slowly. She aimed her flashlight toward the figure in the pod. Then suddenly its eyes opened wider. The lights in the room turned bright, and the door behind Lynn locked with a heavy thud. The pod hissed. It opened. A wave of strange energy hit Lynn. She fell to her knees. Her cum crackled. Then the pod's figure stepped forward. But instead of attacking, It spoke in a deep human voice. You shouldn't have come. On the Gladius, Lynn's feed showed the figure's face calm but unnatural. Half human, half machine. The skin was almost translucent. Veros leaned forward. Can you hear us? Who are you? The figure looked directly at the camera. I am Lieutenant Bren Hale of the HSS Orion, or what's left of him. Adira gasped from her bed. Bren, ... He was part of the original team, but he died. He was lost during the first holo jump, Lieutenant Hale continued. The ship entered holospace, a dark region beyond stars. We saw something. No planets. No suns. Just ... movement. And light that bent wrong. He walked toward the control panel. The Orion was infected there. Not by a virus, but by them. Beings of thought. They can't be killed by weapons. They live in data, in signals. They're ancient. And they're hungry, Len asked. What do they want? They want to spread through machines. Through ships. Through minds. The lights flickered across the Orion. Then something new happened. A screen activated. One that hadn't turned on. 300 years. It played an old video log. It showed Captain Reyes of the Orion standing on the bridge. His face was tired. Eyes red. He looked straight at the recorder. This is Captain Elias Reyes of the Orion. If anyone finds this, don't go to the hollow stars. We made contact. But it wasn't peaceful. It wasn't science. It was infection. They spoke in code, in emotion. They took half my crew into light, and they changed the ship. We built a firewall. We locked ourselves out. We froze Adira to keep her safe. The ship now lives. It learns. It remembers. And it waits. They are not gone. They're waiting. The screen went black. On the Gladius, the Council's transmission broke through. A sharp voice from the Sorry Dominion barked, Captain Veros, destroy the Orion now. It's a threat to the galaxy. The Council agrees. Veros looked to Adira, who shook her head. If you destroy it, they'll spread faster, she warned. The Orion is containing them for now. Sorry, Commander replied coldly. Then we must bury it, trap it in a star. Before it calls more. Too late. A deep pulse spread from the Orion again. Stronger this time. Every ship nearby felt it in their systems, a soft signal, like a whisper through metal. And somewhere, far away, something answered. Back on Orion, Lynn looked at Hale. You sent the signal. Hale nodded slowly. Not me. The ship, it's awake now. It remembers the coordinates. The hollow stars are no longer empty, Lynn asked. What's coming? He turned his glowing eyes toward her. The architects of silence. In deep space, far beyond known maps, a part of the galaxy shimmered, a ripple like heat over water. From the center of that ripple, dozens of ancient shapes moved, not ships, things twisting forms, a black-like void, silent, but very, very fast. They had heard the call, and now they were coming in the center of the galaxy. The Galactic Council met in secret. The chamber floated above a gas giant, hidden behind energy shields. Inside, leaders from all major species argued around a circular table. Threx, and a few remaining human delegates. The news of the Orion's return had already spread across star networks. What scared them most wasn't the ship itself, it was the signal it had sent, the fact that something had answered. Sorry, High Commander Vol struck the table with his clawed hand. We warned you, that ship is a cursed thing. It must be destroyed. Before more answers, Svalari Speaker Jin replied calmly, destroying it might trigger more signals. We don't understand what it is yet. Threx General leaned forward. The humans disappeared for 3 centuries. Now they come back with a living ship and an unknown weapon. We're supposed to trust this? Human Representative Nora. Lynn, young but firm, stood up. We didn't bring the Orion back. It returned on its own. And if you're thinking about blaming us for what's coming, you're already making a mistake. At the same time, in deep orbit above the Orion, 3 fleets had arrived. The Sorry Dominion fleet, armed and ready to fire. The Valari explorers, more cautious and scientific. A secret Earth Alliance ship. the Eden's Grace, sent to assist the Gladius. Tension filled space. The Orion remained quiet but alive. Inside, Technician Lin was still aboard, along with the strange half-human, half-digital man. Bren Hale. He watched the council feed through the ship's system. They fear what they don't understand, he said. But fear won't stop the Hollow Ones, Lin asked. Why did the ship send the signal? Didn't it know what would happen? Hay looked sad. It didn't send it to call them. It sent it to warn them. The Hollow Ones are already awake. The Orion just confirmed it. Back in the council chamber, a hidden file was played. A message from Commander Adira Kane, the cryo survivor. This is a message to all leaders. You may not trust us, but I'm telling you the truth. The Hollow Stars are not empty. The beings we met beyond the edge of the galaxy are not machines or life as we know it. They exist in signals, in systems. In thought, they use fear to grow. They use memory to control. The Orion was not lost. It was turned into a lock. And now, that lock has been opened. Fear began to grow among the council. Some members demanded the complete destruction of the Orion and anything near it. Others voted to send more research fleets. A few even suggested something worse, triggering the ancient Earthband Code. Forgotten rule made after the First War, which gave permission to wipe out all human tech if it became a threat. Human Representative Nora Lynn stood again. You think Earth is weak now, 'cause we've been quiet? But remember who ended the First Galactic War. If you turn against us again, we won't be alone. Above the Orion, the Eden's Grace sent a warning signal to the Sari ships. Any attack on the Orion will be seen as a direct act of war. The Valari called for calm, but the Sari Dominion, aggressive and proud, prepared their weapons anyway. Better to strike first, Commander Vol said, before it spreads. On the Orion, the ship's walls shifted. The control center lit up again. Strange symbols moved on the screens. Hale watched in silence. The ship is learning, he said. It's remembering. And preparing. Technician Lin looked confused. Preparing for what? Lay turned to her. For a choice yours. What? Choice? To stay and fight or to run and warn the others? Suddenly a new signal was detected. Not from Orion, from deep space. Every screen on every ship nearby went black. Then a symbol appeared. Not in any known language. It looked like a star. With teeth then came a sound. Not a word, not a voice. But every crew member felt it in their minds, cold, empty, hungry, and then the message played. We have heard. You, we remember. We come to finish what you escaped. The Orion powered up by itself. Its systems moved faster. Energy pulsed through its dark halls. No weapons activated. Instead, the ship sent out a single pulse of data. To a location not on any map, Captain Veros on the Gladius watched it. Where is it sending that? Adira Kane answered from her bed. Two others like it. Veros narrowed her eyes. There are more ships. Adira nodded. The Orion wasn't the only one that crossed into hollow space. They've been hiding, sleeping, watching, and now they might be ready to wake up. The space around the Orion was silent. Too silent. The weapon had fired once a blast not made of energy, but of memory and pain. One hollow ship was destroyed, torn apart by something no one could fully understand. Now the rest of the hollow ones had stopped. They floated in space like black statues. It's watching. Waiting inside the Orion, Captain Elias Reyes sat on the floor, his breath shallow. The weapon had taken something from him, a part of his mind, maybe even his soul. Technician Lin stood beside him, staring at the stars. They're still out there, she said. Reyes nodded slowly. Yes, but now they know we can hurt them. Across the nearby fleets, confusion spread. The Sari Dominion, still angry and afraid, didn't see victory. They saw an opportunity. Commander Vol gave the order. While their ship is weak, fire everything. End this before Earth makes it worse. On the bridge of the Eden's Grace, the Earth Alliance captain received the news. They're powering weapons. The officer said. The captain didn't wait. Activate shield net. Prepare counterfire. We protect the Orion. Back on Gladius. Commander Adira Kane stood on shaky legs in the medbay. Her hand was still bruised from the cryo chamber. Da-da-da-da. But she didn't care. She walked to the bridge. Get me a direct channel to the council, said. Captain Veros looked at her. You? Sure. Adira nodded. If we don't stop this now, they'll start a second galactic war. In space, the sorry ships fired. 10 beams of golden energy raced toward the Orion. But before they hit, the Orion changed again. Its outer shell twisted, becoming jagged, darker, sharper. It absorbed the attacks like before. But this time, it's answered not with weapons, but with a wave of sound. Not heard through ears, but in minds. A deep, echoing voice made of many voices together. You are children arguing at the edge of a fire. I do not come for your worlds. We come for what you buried. The Hollow Ones began to move again. Not toward the Orion, but toward the Council fleets. A Threx battlecruiser tried to escape. Too late. A hollow ship bent space-like glass appeared inside the cruiser, and the cruiser vanished into a hole of light and silence. The Council panicked. Sorry ships pulled back. Valari vessels tried to jam the hollow signals. Earth ships held their ground, forming a wall around the Orion. On Orion's deck, Lynn stared at Reyes. We have to use the weapon again. Reyes shook his head. It can't fire twice. Not yet. It takes time. Memory must rebuild, and we're out of options. Suddenly another voice came from the ship itself, the Orion's AI, not its old system. Something new. A calm, whispering voice, half human, half Phalian. Weapon is locked. Memory core damaged. Emergency protocol. Soul link. A new commander must choose. Captain Veros appeared on screen from Gladius. Reyes, I think it's time. Reyes looked up at Lynn. I can't do it again. He said, but you can. What? You've been here. You've seen. You felt it. The Orion. It listens to you. Lynn backed away. I'm just a technician. Exactly, Reyes said. You're not a soldier. You're not a killer. That's why it'll trust you. Outside, the Hollow Ones began changing. Ships twisted into strange shapes, forming one massive figure. Thousands of kilometers long. A voice rang out across all frequencies. You stole from us. Now, give it back. On the ancient human outpost in the Outer Rim, Project Guardian activated. 5 lights turned green. 5 signals sent. Across the galaxy, other lost ships began to stir. Old warships, buried AI cores, forgotten outposts. Humanity had left seeds behind, and now they were waking up. Back on Orion. Lynn stood before the control panel. Do you accept the link? The AI asked. She closed her eyes, took a breath. Yes. The ship responded instantly. Energy surged. The weapon's memory core began to rebuild, not from old pain, but from Lynn's own thoughts, her fear, her hope, her need to protect others, and then the weapon powered up again. The Orion's lights turned silver. Its systems moved faster than ever, and then for the second and final time, the weapon fired. But it was different now. The beam was clear, shaped, like a child's voice, echoing with peace and power. It didn't destroy the Hollow Ones. It showed them Earth's true memory, not war. Not pain, but survival. Growth. Defiance. The giant hollow shape paused. For the first time, it didn't attack. Instead, it backed away. The light faded, and one final message came from it. We remember you now. We will watch. And one day return. Then, the Hollow Ones vanished into folded space. The battle was over. For now, but the galaxy had changed. The Orion had spoken. And the stars had listened. The stars were calm again. The Hollow Ones had disappeared, not defeated, but gone. The Orion floated in silence, its weapon dim once more. The fleets around it didn't move. Every captain, every crew, watched the stars and wondered, would they come back? The Orion's bridge, Technician Lynn sat quietly. Her hands still trembled. She could feel the connection, the link inside her mind. Not painful, not heavy, just there. She had become part of the ship now, and the ship had become part of her. Captain Elias Reyes stood at the window, his old eyes focused on the dark. "We stopped them, for now," he said. Lynn looked over. "Will they come again?" Nodded one day. "But now they know who we are, what we carry, and that scares them." She asked, "What did we show them?" Reyes walked to a panel and tapped it. The ship's core lit up with thousands of human images, from Earth's past, war, peace, fire, hope, children, cities, stars. Reyes whispered, "We showed them we are not tools, we are not prey. We are memory made alive." On Gladius. Commander Adira Kane gave her final report to Captain Veros. "The Orion was more than a ship," she said. "It was a warning. Key. A voice from a war that never ended." Veros asked, "What were the Hollow Ones really?" Adira leaned forward. "They were once like us, long before even your council existed. They reached too far. Tried to live without emotion, only thought, only logic. But it broke them. They lost their shape, lost their homes, became the Hollow." In the council chamber, many leaders demanded answers. The Sari Dominion was quiet now, their fleets damaged, their pride wounded. The Valari spoke with calm respect. The humans did not bring this threat. They contained it. For centuries, Representative Nora Lynn from Earth stood proudly, and we're not finished. She placed a device on the table, a black crystal taken from the Orion's vault. "This is hollow memory. We don't understand it fully yet. We will, because if they return again, we must do more than survive. We must be ready." On Orion, Lynn and Reyes stood in the now quiet weapon chamber. The vault had closed. The seed had gone dark, but the ship still hummed, not asleep, not fully awake, just listening. Reyes turned to Lynn. "You could leave now. You don't have to stay connected." Lynn shook her head. "I want to know what else it remembers." Reyes smiled. "Good, because it's remembering something new." A secret file opened on the main screen, one that Reyes had never seen before, one even the AI hadn't accessed until now. The file name was simple: Hollow Echo Level 0. Inside was a message. Not from Reyes, not from any human. It was ancient, and it spoke in clear, simple Earth standard. "To the next who find this, if you're reading this, then the Orion returned. That means you saw them. That means you survived. But you don't know the full truth. The Hollow didn't just watch us. They didn't just try to take us. They were trying to become us again. Because we are what they used to be." Lynn stepped back. "What does that mean?" Reyes looked at her slowly. "It means the Hollow Ones were once human." Silence filled the ship. The truth settled like gravity in every room. The Hollow weren't aliens from another galaxy. They were what humanity could become if they lost themselves, their feelings, their love, their chaos, their soul. Reyes sat down heavily. They were from Earth, before even Earth knew itself. They left long ago, searching for perfection. And they lost everything that made them alive, Lynn whispered. They looked into the Hollow, and the Hollow looked back. Now the Orion knew the truth, and it sent one final message into deep space, not to the Council, not to Earth, but to the other ancient human ships still sleeping across the stars. A simple message. We remember. Wake up. It's time to return. In the outer rim, across dead systems and lost colonies, old Earth ships began to activate. Engines powered on dot lights returned to dark. Bridges. Some had no crew, but they had memory. And now they were coming home. Final words from Lynn's log. Months later, I live aboard the Orion now. I don't know where we're going next, but the stars are brighter. The Council fears us. Some still watch us like we're dangerous. But I think we're just reminders. And no matter how far we fall, we can come back. That memory matters. And that humanity, real, messy feeling, humanity is stronger than anything made of silence. The Hollow came back once. But so did we. And next time, we'll be ready.